Well, we were at the Punch Bowl, which is just this big swimming hole with like a waterfall in the middle of it, and it's a gorgeous spot to be. But when we were there, all of a sudden these giant smoke clouds blew up on the trailhead leaving.
And I remember kind of smelling fire, but I don't remember it being overwhelming at the time. I remember the smoke looked like dust smoke. It wasn't super black at the time. And then it got darker and darker.
Well, it's been hours, days, weeks. I can't remember the last time I ate. I think it was August. I see fire and smoke. We were so lost. A lot of people over there freaking out.
The Blair Witch.
We're having a good time.
Having a good time, yeah, somehow.
911, where is your emergency?
Oh, the fire on the Eagle Creek Trail. We're all just wondering how to get back. The fire is covering the trail. I got to the point where I have service and I'm like 20 feet from the fire. So
okay, so I need you to go back to wherever you're safe, and we're going to get the fire department headed that way, okay?
Okay, so nobody has service and there's about 75 people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
September 2, 2017.
So I went through kind of a breakup, and I got really upset one day, and I started looking up hikes and which ones I could do and all of those things. So I grabbed a friend and we went up to Eagle Creek. I just remember feeling so much better after I was done, and it was so green and so beautiful, and I couldn't believe how many people don't explore and don't hike. You can go up to 2 miles and see Punch Bowl, and then you can go up further if you want to. And so Eagle Creek kind of started my whole hiking extravaganza.
My name is Sergio Madrid. I'm actually Navy corpsman. For our ship, when it gets repairs, they have to go into the yard in Portland. So we float all the way from Guam to Portland. So while we were there, I figured why not go on some hikes, go out and see the outdoors. And I love being outdoors. So I convinced a couple friends to go out and join me on a hike.
I had a buddy in town. I mean, I just moved here. I'd been here for like a week or 5 days, and I think we had just gone out the night before to go drinking, and I had, a 6-pack, bag of trail mix, bottle of water, and one of those like inflatable tube couches you see at like music festivals. So I had one of those in my backpack. That was the limit of our preparations for that hike. And a pair of old hiking shoes.
I was with my friend who's like my sister, and we were looking for vehicles for her with no luck for anything that she liked. We just were like, this is a bust, so let's go hiking and we'll find you a car another day. I don't even think I had a backpack with me. When we did end up going, I was like, oh man, I don't have anything, but it's fine because we're only gonna go up to Punch Bowl.
Since I had prepared for a 12-mile hike, I had extra Gatorade, snack bars, a lot of things just to keep me going, change of clothes. I always hike with a hammock, knife, light, some rope.
We hiked in, took pictures of the waterfalls on the way in, so we turned back and then stopped, drank our beers, relaxed, sunned out a little bit, headed back to Punch Bowl to go swimming on the way there. Jumped in the water, was drying off a little bit, and then everyone started complaining about giant clouds behind us on the trailhead. And I was like, oh no, what's going on? And that was kind of like the end of the fun day of a Sunday, turned into everything else. Us in the back, and then here we go.
Reality in my mind, like, this is like the dumbest thing I'm deciding to do here, but I need to make sure that no one's there, and that, because there's always something going on, thinking to myself, like, what if someone's trapped there? What if someone's here? I need to see what's going on. When I stopped, that's because I couldn't even take the heat no more. They kind of just pushed me back.
We were talking to the sheriff on a cell phone from like a random 16-year-old girl from high school who was hiking with her boyfriend that day. So I told them who I was and like my name and rank, and they gave me like this list of like, you need to get a head count and you stay where you are. We'll give you more instructions later. And at the same time, the helicopter had flown over and had dropped a note to everyone in the swimming area, and they had read it to the group, and everyone was like panicking, like, because all it said was like fire, warning, extreme danger, like fire. So I got back down to the big group of people and kind of like waved my hands around and was like, hey everyone, this is the sheriff's plan. This is what we're gonna do. We need a head count right now. And then I talked to the sheriff again. He's like, you guys need to hike out.
So we tried to just get everyone we could to go back up to that plateau and form a line so that we could get a head count.
I'm just taking note of who looks like they might have trouble hiking, like elderly. How many small children do we have? And I said, I'll be the last man, and I'll make sure no one gets past me.
There was like those conflicting things, and everyone was not sure what to do. Like, which note should we follow? Which note should we do? And then I think that's where everyone kind of got excited about my information, because I was like, just talked to the sheriff on the phone. Like, we're gonna hike out of here. Like, my name's Rob. The helicopters can't make it to you guys, so you need to. There's only one direction you can go away from the fire, towards the other fire, actually.
Externally, I'll always show a poker face. I will be calm and relaxed. So we're heading right to that fire, and this don't look too bad, but it's pretty steep down to a ravine. The water's freezing, so we'll see what happens. There's a chopper coming through. Inside, I'm a million things a minute. I'm just out of control, but I don't ever show it. When I'm with people, I do whatever it takes to get their mind off of what's going on and make them feel at ease.
I remember at one point I was like, there was a lady who was struggling hiking. She was like, you know, what's worse than laying on rocks? And I remember somebody behind me was like dying in a forest fire, and I just remember like, okay, we can't do that. And I went up to her and I was dancing around her, and I'm like, you're a rock star, you're doing so good. And
that was like kind of my message to everybody. It was like, hey, listen, we're gonna do this together. It's gonna be great. Try to keep it light. And I kept trying to like reinforce that there'll be rangers and food and water waiting for us when we got there. And I think everyone was kind of pissed at me when like that didn't happen, because I had this like wonderful plan. Everyone was like, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about. But as soon as like the plan went any direction that wasn't right, they were like, hey, come here. So what the hell? Like, there's no water here, and we've been eating trail mix for 4 hours. And I'm just like, hey, it's on the way. It's coming. Trust me.
Robbie stayed at the back with me, and I remember he kind of was running up back and forth through the line trying to communicate with people, because everybody trusted him. And it was so funny, because while we were hiking, you could just hear people, Robbie, just looking for him. Sergio reminds me of my older brother. The whole time I was around him, just super easygoing, joking around, and like, I remember him bringing a lot of logistics to some of the plans.
Yeah, I only got to see Robbie a few times throughout the whole trip, but when we got together, when we stopped and people rested, we'd all get together, me, Robbie, Brandy, Nick and Tyler. We would just have a jokingly good time, keeping those spirits up. I mean, that's the only thing that we could really do. Try to keep their minds off of like what was really going on.
I don't remember the elevation gain, but this is like this wide of trail. The majority, like it's my arm span wide of a trail that we were hiking, one person at a time. Some guy slipped and fell off the trail, and like he landed on top of a tree right next to the trailhead. And I tossed my backpack to somebody, and we kind of leaned over and picked him up. But like that was the closest we got to like having something terrible happen. But that whole once it got dark and the fire started popping up on the other side of the river from us, I was nervous.
I just remember looking at Robbie, and Robbie and I were kind of like, well, we need to figure something else out to get that out, because if people see that, they're going to start losing their minds. And we have people relatively calm right now. And so, you know, the minute people start freaking out is when everything goes bad. And Robbie and I were kind of on the same page about that. So I'm like, in my head, just thinking, how much of a hero are you? And then one of the hippies, or whatever people are referring them to, actually went out and put it out. And I remember everybody on the ridge just cheering and being like, oh my gosh, yay!
Like I said, I had my hammock with me, so that was helpful. Me and Tyler, we both had hammocks, and we ended up using like ropes to pull people up and down when they would go down to put out the little embers.
People were getting a little tired. It was like around like 10 p.m. I think at 11:30, like midnight, we ran into a park ranger finally. And my kind of thing was we were gonna hike through the night. I was nervous if we stopped, like we were gonna wake up and people were gonna be in a place where the fire had cut us off. And she's like, listen, it's been a long night. You guys need to relax for 2 to 3 hours. Someone's gonna get hurt.
I thought, I have no meat on my bones, I'm gonna freeze.
So I spent a good part of the night just laying there staring up and seeing the ash following us, watching the sky go from black to red, just constantly changing.
I was kind of nervous, like a Bambi scene was gonna break out where it's like a mad dash to get away from like a wildfire. That was my biggest fear. Like the cold air had dropped everything during the night, so when we woke up, it was like the movie The Mist.
They kept telling us we're going to the lake. So as soon as we saw the lake, I remember taking a video of that showing like, oh, we're finally at the lake. So this is it. We're finally here.
Hey, we survived. At least we think so.
Yeah, I was feeling tired. That's the lake over there. Hurting inside, like always. Didn't want to show it. A little tiring. But oh well, we're good. I've always been that one that kind of just jumps in head first and then assesses what needs to happen as it's happening. And then all my adrenaline will hit in afterwards when I'm safe.
I guess at no point did I ever feel panicked. I felt more like my body went into survivor mode. Like I was outside looking in, and what did I need to do? That was more what I felt like. Didn't feel scared.
I think, yeah, definitely. I think the Air Force deploying, you know, seeing what damage being like crazy and overthinking a situation can cause helped me kind of keep a level head about things. At the last like 150 yards is a staircase of like 1.5 by like 1.5 like stairs that are just like wooden logs put into the ground, and it's brutal after like a day of hiking.
As soon as I got to that stairs, I just started running up it. Got about halfway up, turned around, took a picture of the stairs to show like the stairs we had to climb, and to show my friends their faces like, you're such a jerk.
Everyone did it though. Even the girl who I had to ace wrap her knee because she was having knee pain, hiked out of there.
I never knew that I would be the type of a survivalist type of a person. I do remember thinking, wow, I could totally volunteer and be a rescue person, because I am a little bit selfishly selfless. Like I love to help people in terms like that makes me feel good to help others.
So everyone who saw me at the end was like, hey, Rob, the guy whose first name we memorized, because he was the only person who had the easiest syllable name to memorize. So everyone was like saying hi, everyone was saying thanks, everyone was like high-fiving or hugging. It was kind of fun.
Some say they'd rather be back in the fire. I remember being so tired on the way down the hill, but as soon as I got to the vehicle, that adrenaline rush is just, my heart starts pounding and everything starts coming together like, wow, this just happened. It's horrible that it happens, these experiences, but I'm also hopeful that people learn from it. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody at that whole experience of being trapped out there in the fire, that I guarantee none of them will ever go out again without some sort of gear or something.
I think I'll never go hiking again where I don't have anything besides beer and trail mix. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do that again. And like my roommate was like, where were you for like 2 days? Because he was like, saw the fire, didn't hear from us for like a day and a half, and was like, we came back Sunday and he was like, hey, yeah, you know, I thought that might have been you, but so you were stuck in a fire. How are you doing? And it was just the weirdest, surrealist moment. I just moved to Portland. I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This doesn't feel like a real life. I feel like I'm part of a sitcom.
It wasn't until I got home that I cried. I didn't cry the entire time, and I drove home 2 hours from that hike. At home, it was almost like optimism fatigue had hit me or something, and I was like, you just went through something really big and you didn't even notice, like, until now. I drove up there not too long ago just to drive past it, and it broke my heart to see what it looks like now, and to think that it was caused just because of something so silly. And I mean, I remember my 15-year-old brothers, they were kind of dangerous too, but if anything should be taken away from my interview, it's just the positivity that it brought to me, and hopefully to all other 150 hikers that was with me. 150 people may not seem like a lot, but we had very different people on our hikes, and we all could come together and we all could work together, and I think that is something positive to take away from it.